the ACC, and Stoops said, "Yeah, bring it on. Come on, come on." Which I really liked. Who doesn't like Stoops doing that? Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. Honored and pleased that you are joining me, whether it's live now anywhere in the country, anywhere in Kentucky, anywhere in the world, or later tonight or tomorrow or whatever, sometime this weekend via the podcast, which is growing and growing and growing. And thank you very much. So, Jimmy, I'm just reading an article last night, just, doing my normal messing around. And Matt Norlinger is a very good reporter, as you know, and he's got on CBS, he's got the top 25 plays in college basketball from the year 2000. And number 14, I don't know if you saw it, Jimmy, I'm a small part of. And they put the chase of Billy Gillispie, which seems to have a life of its own, even after all these years in there, about, Gillispie being horrible, and Cal took over, and and the chase, we and Billy Gillispie. So I thought that was pretty cool. What do you think, Jimmy?
That is pretty cool. Like you said, to just randomly be scrolling through the list, and hey, look what pops up.
Yeah, I mean, I was going through quickly. Oh, this, okay, I can see this. Oh, this guy, whoa, what am I doing in there? Number 14. Very nice, very impressive, very unexpected. I will try to get Matt Norlinger on the show. Actually, true confessions, this doesn't happen a lot, but I had messaged him during the basketball season, and he never responded. So he ghosted me, yet he used me in the story. He probably won't remember ghosting me. Yeah, I'm very lucky. Has it happened other times? Absolutely. With some people I don't know and some people I do know. But generally speaking, I can't believe how lucky I've been, seriously, with people who say yes to doing the show. And by the way, Jimmy, does this look strange? I guess I have to get used to it. Thanks to Sean, who sent me a background. We now have an ESPN sports radio background, even though I'm at my house. I think people know how you can do those things. I, of course, didn't know how to do it. Sean had to walk me through it as we are live on YouTube. On the ESPN Sports Radio 1300 page. Did I get that right, Jimmy?
1300 AM.
1300 AM page. I guess I need to add that. Okay. That is a beautiful thing. An absolutely beautiful thing. I was going to ask you, Jimmy, to pull some Chuck Mangione music, and I didn't. He's probably before your time in his heyday. And I wore out a couple of his albums in college. I think he was in his 80s. My gosh, Hulk Hogan and Chuck Mangione yesterday. I mean, people that we all know are dropping like flies. And as you get older, and Jimmy, I don't know how big this is in your life, it's going to get worse. It just does. It's amazing in the last 3 years, personally, people that I know, and then other people that I followed and stuff like that have moved on, which makes me every day say a little prayer and be grateful for everything I have. I start every day with a gratitude thing. I've been doing it for a couple of years. And when Pope did it, I thought it was great to put in the open. And by the way, I'm not doing it because of Pope. And it'd be fine if I did do it because of Pope. It's just a lot of changes that I've made. We're going to go through a potpourri of stuff before we get into this really bothers me. That's why I'm putting it up. It's a little thing, but it's not a little thing. Can you imagine a Hall of Fame voter leaving Ichiro off their ballot? Seriously. I'd love to know who it is. I'd rip the crap out of that person, male, female. I just rip like crap. How do you not put him on the ballot? On the ballot. There was a year when, now Ted Williams didn't get along with a lot of writers. He was surly, and a lot of writers really didn't like him, which is fine. It's just relationships in life. And so there was a voter, and I don't remember the year, but it's one of his best years, who didn't even put him, Jimmy, in the top 10. Had he put him anywhere in the top 10, 10th, he would have won the MVP award. I think that sucks. This is one of my big pet peeves. If you like somebody, great. If you don't like somebody, great. But respect who they are and what they accomplish. One of the things that my partner in Cut to the Chase, which you all are still purchasing, so thank you, about my wild career, all true stories. Tough to do at times because I was no filter on myself. And there were some painful moments in there and a lot of fun moments in there. I've been very, very, very lucky. But one of the things he has complimented me is that I could see good in a person and bad in a person and take each thing differently. And it's kind of my training both as a person and as a reporter. I think it's really, really important. And too many people can't do it. By the way, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else or that kind of stuff. I just wish more people would develop that. This is a little thing, and I have it high on my list because it really ticks me off. Yet, by the same token, too, Jimmy, as I want you to respond, I'm actually surprised there's not more of this. And I think there probably is, but it hasn't been discovered. You know, just like when people say, there shouldn't be any betting because the players are going to bet and that kind of stuff. Well, of course it's going to happen. That's life. Should you shut down an entire system because of a few bad apples? And I mean a few. I think most kids are really good about this. Are there going to be people bet? Yes. Yes. Should we change the whole world because of it? No. So something called Tiger Sports Report says that multiple sources have told them that a former safety, I never heard of this kid's name, Taja Rael. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, Jimmy. Does that sound about right?
I don't know the pronunciation, but I saw the same story.
Yeah, that he leaked elements of Memphis's defensive playbook to UTSA ahead of their game last November, and they lost. Memphis lost 44-36, which cost them like playoffs. Cost the school a ton of money. You know, and I wonder what the lawyers would say about this. Seriously. And part of the story said that the team that got screwed basically said, you know, we were checking off and they knew exactly what was going on. Duh. And they still scored 36 points and lost. Awful. Anthony Wireman, old friend. By the way, I should have said this a while ago. Good luck on getting your health back 100%. He had a little issue that he's talked about on Twitter and stuff like that. Really good dude who covers UK and hopefully get back to covering again. I just thought this was funny. When it comes to poor officiating, WNBA refs really give the TBT refs a run for their money. Okay, I'm going to go where I guarantee you some people are going to take this the wrong way. One, I think it's great, not good, but great, that women's basketball has gotten much better. Did you see where Caitlin Clark's rookie card went for over $600,000? I've got my notes here somewhere. I think it's great. And I've said this many times. I'm enjoying watching women's basketball a ton more now. And I've also said this, like 10 years ago, the quality of basketball wasn't that good. Now, would I watch a championship game? Yeah. Did I watch the Final Four religiously? Yeah. And until you got that deep, I didn't think the play was that good. And I know that ticks some people off. Oh, you're being sexist. That's just BS. What's happened in the last few years, women's basketball has gotten a ton better. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you this, the spacing in the WNBA, really good. The talent is really, really good. The coaching, I think, is really good. Now, the league, how they handle stuff, they suck. They really do. Because I don't care if it's Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, nobody should be hit as much as Caitlin Clark gets hit. And Indiana needs to have an enforcer. They do have a little bit of one, but they really need to have an enforcer. I mean an enforcer to take care of this stuff. And the refs suck. The refs really suck. But, Jimmy, you're going to tell me that people are going to take this the wrong way. I'm watching SportsCenter last night. And I guarantee you 2 years ago, the lead story on SportsCenter would be anything going on in training camp that was the big story of the day in the NFL. Wouldn't you agree with that? You've watched SportsCenter a ton.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think they led with that?
No. Justin Fields injury, maybe. That was a pretty big deal.
It was a big deal. That wasn't the first or second story. This is not the first time they've done it. And by the way, I don't think it's worthy. Not last night. Now, there have been some games. Look, if you have Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark going at it, and that's your lead story, that's pretty obvious based upon what else is going on that day in sports. But that would have to be a candidate. They started with WNBA, a couple games. I don't think the interest is there. And I've wondered this the last about 7, 8, 10 years, the people who stack those shows, I think, do an awful job. I don't believe that the average fan who watches SportsCenter, and their numbers continue to go down, 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 down. The days of Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann, I mean, SportsCenter used to be great. It's really watered down. I just don't like it that much yet. Do I watch it? Yes. They did a couple WNBA games, then a West Coast baseball game, and they finally got around to Justin Fields. It took a while. There wasn't a WNBA game that was that special last night. They're leading with it. You agree or disagree with that? I don't get it, by the way. It's awful programming. Now, do I think the WNBA should have been in the A block, the first section, yes, before the commercial break? Absolutely. But things should go where they should go, and that's my opinion. And I thought it sucked. It's not bad. It sucked. Now, am I going to be called a sexist because of that, Jimmy?
I'm sure there's some people that will think that, yeah.
Yet I've said all these nice things about women's basketball and how much has improved and all that. There'll be somebody out there saying Cutler, and that's totally against everything that I stand for. Everything that I stand for, by the way, because of what I dealt with in my family and my mom and how she didn't get some things that she was so overqualified. It was unbelievable. When you have a mother who grew up in a time where women weren't going to college, and she got 2 master's degree and was working on a doctorate when she got married and didn't finish her doctorate, and could have gone to Europe to study music and didn't do it for a lot of reasons I'm not going to get into. And you see your mother being passed over for a job that she was so overqualified, it wasn't even funny, but they gave it to a guy, and I was furious as a child. So please, you want to call me sexist, that's fine. You're an idiot. If something deserves to be there, it deserves to be there. I just wonder what they're doing. Really wonder what they're doing. Jimmy, you're an NFL guy. Aaron Rodgers says that the Steelers are one of 10 or 12 teams that could win the Super Bowl. You buy that?
I would have the Steelers on the fringe. If Aaron Rodgers plays like he did the last 4 or 5 weeks of the year last year, and their defense is how it looks on paper, yeah, then I would put him up there. But, I would put him on the teetering edge only because they have a good enough defense to do it. And if Rodgers can be Aaron Rodgers that we've seen before, yeah. But they're right. I don't know if I'd put him that high.
If he's got some juice, 10 or 12. Yeah. I go 10 or 12.
Yeah, sure.
If he said 1 of 5, I mean, I think he's got some juice left. We'll see. It's interesting when you listen to the soundbite. He calls Tomlin Mike, right? Mm-hmm. So how many quarterbacks call their head coach by the first name or even name him out?
Not very many.
No. Come on, we both listen to a ton of NFL sound bites. And by the way, he's been doing that for years. I don't care, but it's just interesting how he does it. And he makes a point of, now this is the good Rodgers, okay? When he's happy, he finds a positive way to complain. When he's not happy, he finds a negative way to complain. And Jimmy, you've seen this enough. You're smiling right now if you're watching on YouTube, right? So he does this on purpose. It's really smart how he does this. He said, yeah. And, Mike always finds a way to make us practice during the hottest part of the day. And he kind of chuckles. He says, that's okay. It's toughing us up. We're getting through it. So 1, it was obviously he don't like it. 2, he's complaining. 3, you know how I look at this, Jimmy? See if you agree. He's in the honeymoon period.
Yeah. And he's probably just doing it as like a little subtle shot at Mike Tomlin, because I'm sure all the other guys in the locker room were saying the same things to each other. So Rodgers goes up there to say it, and the players are like, oh, yeah, see, he's one of us. We're all complaining about it. Nobody wants to be out here in the heat. And Rodgers is saying it, and, the players are looking at it going, oh, thank you.
Oh, I think that's absolutely part of it. Absolutely unequivocally part of it. Yeah. I think that's a secondary reason. I think the first reason is because he's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But your point is really well taken. There's no question there's something to that. Yeah, he had this dirty smirk on his face when he did it, kind of like a kid who was caught, hand in a cookie jar, right? That kind of thing. It happens. Oh, so the interviews, I don't know if you got to listen to the clips, but I wonder if you had a favorite to listen to.
Of the three basketball players?
Yeah, we have Jasper, we have Malachi, we have Hawthorne.
I like Jasper Johnson.
Guess who I pulled up?
Jasper.
Great minds think alike. By the way, I bet your first, I guess I should say, hey, Gene Abel, kind enough to join us at 12:30. Bo Lanter coming up at 1 o'clock as we set the show. It's been a fun week. Been a fun week. When I saw the picture of Brandon Hawthorne, I had one reaction instantly that everybody will have the same reaction. Jimmy, we all know he's thin. He's really, 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 really thin. You think I'm exaggerating that a little bit?
No, he does look very thin.
Wow. And the comparison to Tayshaun Prince, I kind of went, whoa. Now, it's pretty obvious. They're both super thin guys. And we might get to his sound today. If not, we'll play it next week. We'll play some more sound probably around 1:30. We're going to play some now. But he quietly has a lot of confidence. And Kentucky was his dream school. And I really like what he said was he had committed to West Virginia. I think everybody out there knows he's a West Virginia boy. But he came to the father-son camp as a kid to Kentucky, and he fell in love with Kentucky. So even though he committed to West Virginia, I like how he put it. He said, I just kept my cool and decided to do what's best for myself. I just really like how he handled himself. It doesn't seem like this is too big for him. It really doesn't. And the other thing is, we're going to get into Jasper, but there's a couple of points I think are important to throw out here. So this is pretty typical. After practice, as much as they're practicing and all that kind of stuff, guys play one-on-one basketball afterwards. These kids are junkies. They're junkies. It's a beautiful thing. They're basketball junkies, which is what you want. Look, I think most kids today who want to go to the NBA understand if you're not a basketball junkie, you ain't going to make it unless you have so much talent it's off the chart. You're just not going to make it because there's too much talent out there and there are too many junkies out there and there are too many kids that are working around the clock. I think it's great, by the way. So they're playing one-on-one and those kinds of things they have to practice. He's learning a ton from that because guess what? It's getting pushed around. And he had this thing like, I don't remember if it was one-on-one or in practice, but he's guarding Owe, and all of a sudden Owe puts a little move on and boom, he's gone. Now, Owe is tons stronger. Plus, he's kind of like going, oh, he's not only strong, but he's quick and he knows what he's doing and that kind of thing. And it sounds like he's quickly learning about playing college basketball, which doesn't surprise me at all. But I got to tell you, if this were last year, do I think he would have played a ton last year? Yes, I do. Especially after injuries happen. Yes, I do. This year, I have no clue. Okay, let's go to Jasper Johnson. We'll play some clips before we take our break at 12:30, and then Gene Abel will be kind enough to join us. And Bo Lanter at 1 o'clock. So come on, Jasper is smart. He knows he needs to get stronger. His dad's told him. He knows it. People here have told him that. He's been hearing that for years and years and years. His grandfather, God rest his soul, has told him that. And by the way, I think he's much stronger than he was 3 years ago, but he still looks ridiculously thin. He does. And I don't think he's ever going to have the body where he's really thick. But, when you think about it, his dad, his uncles were football players, which, by the way, he was a hell of a quarterback. And you look at him, Jimmy, and you're going, oh, my gosh, if he could get broken in half and love playing football. But he decided basketball was going to be it. So clip number one, let's just go down the list until it's time for a break. And look, the kid's smart. He knows he's got to get stronger.
I know this is the best conference in college basketball coming to the SEC, and guys are getting much older, stronger. Playing against guys with more experience than me. So just watching film, getting extra shots up, extra sessions in the weight room. Coach Randy, he's been on me about eating as many meals as possible. So just doing that, it's a lot goes into it. But I know I have a long time until our first game, so just trying to get better each and every day.
what's a normal meal for you to try to boost those calories, I guess, or whatever he wants you to do?
I mean, there's really no normal. He's just telling me, if you see something, just eat it. Really, like, just grab it. If it's some gummies, some fruit snacks, some fruit, whenever. Just if I'm walking through the building and I see something, just grab it and eat it. So just trying to do that and, stay with my weight.
There is no doubt have we played 1,000 sound bites? Probably more, don't you think?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, 1,000, 2,000, whatever it is. Jimmy, that sound bite, I've never been so jealous of a sound bite in my life.
I was thinking the same thing.
Thought so. You had a smirk on your face.
Yeah, because I was thinking it's tough to get out of that mode, because playing sports growing up and in college for a year that I was trying to do anything and I couldn't gain weight, eating everything. And then now as you get older into your 30s, you can't live that way of just snacking on everything you see. That goes away. Yeah,
but you probably didn't have, no disrespect to what you did, you probably did not have Kentucky's training table.
No. Yeah.
That's around the clock.
Yeah.
I have not seen the basketball one, but I've been around the football one and walked through there and stuff like that. Dude, it's 24/7. If you can't put on weight hanging around UK football, and I'm sure it's the same thing with basketball, and I can't think the nutritionists, they cook for you, they show you how to cook, this kind of stuff. There's stuff you can grab 24/7, anything you basically want. Oh, I might be 300 pounds if I hung out there.
It's a dream, especially if you're an offensive lineman that's undersized and the coaches say, literally, just ice cream, it doesn't matter, just eat. Gain weight. That's got to be the dream. You know
what happens, though, and I've done a number of stories through the years, and I can't think of the players, but it's been a number of them, where they had to put on weight, and they actually got tired of eating. And I remember the first time one of those stories popped up, this is a long, long time ago, going, what is your problem? And it was kind of like, no, you don't get it. When you're really not hungry 9:30 at night and they're bringing you a big milkshake,
yeah,
for extra calories.
You got to set an alarm at 2 a.m. to have another protein shake, then go right back to bed with a full belly of a 30-ounce protein shake.
And I've heard of that, and I think that's really stupid, by the way, because then you're going back to sleep on a full belly. You don't get enough rest. To me, that's dumb. That's just I don't think that's good for you. Not that I'm a nutritionist, but I think they did some things that through the years that was dumb. So here's more on Johnson, and this is a word that's really important. His last name is Johnson. Okay, when you look at his family and all the great athletes and all the people that were so tough mentally, clip number 2, he is confident.
I feel like I'm always confident in my game, putting in a lot of extra shots. Coach Pope and the staff have been telling me to shoot consistently. So, my first couple practices, I've been shooting a lot. Really trying to read the defense. I know Coach Pope likes a lot of ball movement and body movement, cutting in particular. So, learning that not every possession I need to really shoot the ball, but try to create for others, and, the ball will find me.
The ball will find me. The ball will find me. And so, here's the deal. And I thought about not playing it because everybody's so positive it's crazy. And I'm good with that, so I don't want to sound like I'm looking for something negative. But when an athlete at times is almost put on the spot to say something nice about somebody, it gets to... I guess you wonder sometimes, is it really as strong as they say? And I'm not calling anybody a liar. Jimmy, you do get that, right? Because it's like everybody's great. And we're in this season where everybody is great, and that's really cool. But I'm going to do it anyway. So Jasper was asked, who has impressed him?
Honestly, everybody has impressed me. I've been gone for a while, so coming in new, really my first time seeing everybody play. But I feel like I'm gonna just talk on, my other freshmen that are here. Braden Hawthorne, he's been learning, adjusting to the physicality. He's an elite player. on both ends of the floor. He uses athleticism and his length to, contest shots. I know everything's coming to him fast, just like the rest of us, but he's definitely progressing. And I feel like Malachi's being a great leader, being very vocal. He's also my roommate, so I've been talking to him a lot, doing schoolwork with him, watching film sometimes. But yeah, I feel like Malachi's definitely, he's adjusted to the physicality, is learning the offense, and being a great leader at the 5 spot.
I think Malachi is going to surprise a whole lot of people. Jasper wasn't sure if he's known Malachi since grade school or middle school. So it's one or the other. Obviously, it's a long, long time. And look, think of the resources he has around him. His uncle was a heck of a lineman for Kentucky, and I'm not going to get into it, but got screwed, should have played more. Okay? Derek should have played more, and I've talked about it, but I don't want to take time away from Jasper. And if Derek is listening, he's nodding his head. Yes, he really got screwed. And I don't often say it that way. He really got screwed. Neither here nor there. Strongest guy on the team and a great, great young man. At the time, he's turned into a wonderful adult, which doesn't surprise me. I expect nothing but that from anybody named Johnson. But anyway, here's advice his dad gave him. Derek, remember, Dennis was this huge high school star, turned down Notre Dame, #1 recruit, all that kind of stuff, all the hoopla like crazy. So his dad, football coach at Woodford County, athletics director at Woodford County, knows sports as well as anyone. His advice from his dad.
I'm on my own, so telling me from his past experience, you're going to go through a big mental curve in college, and it's a lot of downsides to it in the early process, but you always got to rely on your work, rely on your faith, and just stay positive. My first couple weeks have been, very tiring, trying to get used to the physicality. They've been trying to beat me up, go at me on defense, things like that. But just trying to stay positive, staying in the gym, watching my film. My coaching staff and my teammates been building me up. I know it's a process and a long time until, game one, but just trying to do whatever I can each and every day to better myself.
How do you not love this kid? He is so smart and so calm and so mature and so talented. He's got the entire package. So does Quantrill Volvo. So does Quantrill Cadillac. So was Quantrill Subaru. Fast, friendly service from the Quantrill Group. Their experienced finance team works hard to approve more buyers, including those with bad credit. Take advantage of their subprime financing, and you'll find your next vehicle. You can do it today. Drive the Cadillac you want without extra cost. This month only, take advantage of special event pricing when trading up to any new Cadillac vehicle. Don't miss your chance to secure the best deal on your upgrade. Quantrill Volvo, check them out. We did recently. Quantrill Cadillac, we've got one. The American symbol of elegant horsepower. And Quantrill Subaru, a great dealership serving Central Kentucky and all over. Check them out. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrill Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. I know what you're thinking, and the answer is yes, you definitely need a new car. It's Alan Cutler, and if you're going to be on the road, you deserve the legendary comfort and power of Cadillac from the Quantrill family. And whether it's finding a brand new Cadillac or service over the life of your vehicle, Lexington, you can trust your experience is always fast and friendly. Cadillac is the American symbol of elegant horsepower. Drive one and find out why. At Quantrill, you'll never be disappointed. Visit QuantrillCadillac.com today.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
It's summertime, and that means it's time to hit the road. Whether you're heading across town or across the state, going on a picnic, to a baseball game, or driving to the lake, stop by, fill up, and stock up at Clark's Pump and Shop, your road trip headquarters.
Clark's Pump and Shop has everything you need to get you to your summertime destination, including Old Trapper Jerky 4-ounce bags for $8.99 and Icebreaker bottle pack gum for $3.50.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Listen anywhere in the world on the ESPN Sports Lexington app. And Jimmy, if anybody wants to watch us, I guess I should have warned Gene Abel, and I did not. Where can you watch us on YouTube now?
ESPN Sports Radio 1300 AM on YouTube.
Gene, next time you wear a tuxedo just like I am now.
Yeah, I forgot my tie and jacket, Alan. You got to warn people like that. Of course, we look up last night and you're a rock star on the internet, still chasing Billy Gillespie. That's the chase that won't end.
Well, you know what? And it's some people remember me because of that. I mean, did I think at the time this would be this? Of course not.
I must say, when I watched it again, the line that will stick out forever when you're chasing Billy down and you're both running. And I heard Billy say something about in shape, and Alan replies, "I can run all day."
I would have too. Might have collapsed afterwards. Well, wearing cowboy boots, which I wore just about every day on that day, was not very wise.
And if you were chasing Billy down that hallway right now and he said that, what would you say?
Yeah. And I was reminded again to try, and I haven't in a long time, but for years, he said he kept the same cell phone number. I would call him, leave the same message. Hey, why don't we do something for charity? Have a fun run. Let's try to raise a bunch of money, stuff like that. And he never responded. And I really thought maybe after 5 or 6 years, he'd have a sense of humor. Silly me.
About the weirdest coach I've ever been around.
Me, I sense he had a very difficult childhood, and that carried over to his adult life.
I know this sounds silly. The first time I saw Billy in person, I think maybe it was at the first exhibition game or whatever, and we were, I was down on the floor or whatever, and we were close, and it was the first time I really seen him up close. This sounds weird. His eyes, I looked at his eyes and said, whoa, he's a different character. I don't mean any of that bad, negative. He's just an odd character.
I remember the first press conference, not when he was introduced, when the whole was there and that kind of stuff. The first one in Memorial Coliseum in that room in the back that they've now redone. And it's a beautiful room now. And it was an old room, but it fit pretty well. And I remember this because I remember John Clay and I just stared at each other. We both had to look like, what the blank? So for some reason, I was kind of sitting on the side. Cameras in the, TV cameras in the middle, and John was a little bit on the side, and you could see, I wasn't doing this on purpose, but you could see Billy from a different angle. And underneath the table, underneath the microphone, it was all innocuous questions, softball stuff. Nobody was going after Billy. He'd just been hired, and this wasn't a million people. This was kind of like most of the local folks with a couple extra people. And it just pairs down to the people normally that show up all the time unless there's a special event. Billy's got his hands under the table and he's wringing them out like crazy, and he's grabbing his hands so hard. And I bet John Clay remembers this. His knuckles were turning white. And I turned to the first person that I saw. John was a few seats down. He saw it too. And we had this look of disbelief like, oh my gosh, if you're going to be uptight now, how the blank are you going to handle this?
There was just something in that head that was different. I don't want to say anything bad.
By the way, to explain the rest, Matt Norlinger, and I was just reading the story, is a very good college basketball writer, and I'm sure you've read him and stuff like that. He's very respected. Put out the top college basketball, moments, games, that kind of thing since the year 2000. Put out 25, and the chase with Cal coming here and Billy getting fired and me was number 14, and they put the video in. And so how about this? You're just kind of reading this, and I'm thumbing through it, and you go, what?
How was it just 14? I looked at 13, and it was Zion Williams. How did Zion rank above the Chase? I talk about rankings that need to be reevaluated.
Steve Moss asked me a question because we were going up and back with I was going up and back with a bunch of people last night. And I know it had hundreds of thousands of hits after 48 hours. And then, you know how that stuff, it just dies down and stuff. But there are some people who've told me they think it's had over 1 million hits. I have no idea. There's no way of knowing. But it was amazing how many different organizations ended up writing a story on it. Okay, let's get past that. Your goal was to humble me, wasn't it?
Never would attempt to do that, Al.
You said you were going to attempt to do that, didn't you?
Okay, I plead guilty.
Okay, I purposely didn't put this in the monologue because I know you remember this part of the story, and then let's fast forward to today. Do you remember the days when people said, and I don't remember if you were a sports editor or this is before when you were writing, you'll remember probably which one it is, but I know you remember this. The days when we say, well, Kentucky football is never going to the SEC, and by golly, they should leave the SEC and go to the ACC. Do you remember those days? And there was a time that I know, and so do you, there were some quietly serious conversations. Do you remember those days?
Oh, there were some people, I worked for one of them, who were seriously pushing Kentucky going to the ACC and thought that it would be the best thing for the program for many years.
You worked for somebody who was pushing it?
Yes, at the Cats Bowls.
Oh, you're talking about Oscar?
Yeah, but
okay.
He wasn't. I mean, there were a lot of. There's a lot of people who thought that would be the best thing they could do because it was a basketball conference. Kentucky was considered, and still is, I guess, to some extent, a basketball school. Excuse me, Mark Stoops. But there were a lot of people believe that. Maybe if they'd done it a lot, some things would have changed differently. But the way the course played out, that would not have been a wise move.
So I was kind of surprised. I understand the background, but I'm still surprised. There's a site called Inside Carolina, and they have a good reputation. And they're saying that North Carolina is looking into joining this Southeastern Conference. And some people say, well, they'd be more in line with the Big Ten because they're better academics than some schools in the South. You had fans apparently from North Carolina would like to see them come to the SEC. Let me do one more, Gene, then I want you to go off. I'm of the belief, like a lot of people, this is not, Alan Cutler's coming up with this, but there's a lot of people who believe, and I'm curious what you believe, it's possible that the ACC will end up disbanding. That could happen. But one of the problems is that right now the exit fee is $147 million. Be that as it may, what's your take on North Carolina looking into joining the SEC?
The exit fee for one team, believe, is that much?
Yep.
Wow. I don't have a lot of insight in. I mean, there's so much that is changing every year and every few years with conferences. For me to sit here and say that I think this may happen. I'm not smart enough to know that. Carolina, I don't think the ACC will disband, but Carolina feels more like an SEC school if it were to happen, but I don't know. But Lord knows where anybody's going to be in a few years. To me, the interesting thing now is clearly you've got the Big Ten and SEC have separated themselves from everybody else, but now they seem to be fighting with each other.
Yes, they are fighting with each other. One commissioner, Sankey, says I'm more powerful and screw you and I'm going to dominate. And that's basically the mantra they're putting out. But I tell you, the day when Oregon and the West Coast teams were joining the Big Ten, that was the day in that little short time period when I said, you know what? There are other conferences that are going to go belly up. And it's in the process. And I'm not making a prediction. Gene, I don't know if the ACC is going to go away. But I got to tell you, and you know this, if a couple of these schools leave, they have serious problems. And there was a while with Clemson, and I think it was Miami. No, Clemson and Florida State, excuse me. Clemson and Florida State were suing to get out, and they've dropped the lawsuit. But that doesn't mean there's a lot of schools that are happy there.
Which is exactly why hesitate to even go out on a limb and say anything, because if you'd have told me 7 or 8 years ago Oregon was going to be in the Big Ten, I would have hung up on you. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So I have no idea where it's going to be in 5 years, which you could pretty much say about the college sports landscape on almost every issue.
Now, according to this, the exit fee in 2030-31 goes down to $75 million, and then it stays at that.
That's in 20. Well, there could be a lot of changes between now and then.
Absolutely.
It's just it's so revolving. It's impossible to figure out what's going to happen.
Well, I'll go one step further. Suppose this, suppose 3 teams in the ACC say we're leaving.
In the ACC?
In the ACC, excuse me, say they're leaving. Okay. The value of their TV contract, the ESPNs of the world say, we're giving you this. It's not worth it.
Right.
And I don't know, their contracts are probably 6 inches deep. You know how long these contracts are, and who knows, there's something to it. If you would have told me back then when we knew of this story about people saying, maybe they should join the ACC, Kentucky I'm talking about, if you would have told me ever back then that North Carolina would even entertain the thought or want to join the SEC, I would have laughed at you. I'd have told you you're nuts.
I would totally agree with that.
And who knows if it's going to happen. By the way, I find this interesting. Clemson, Miami, Louisville, and SMU is how they're looking at the top 4 teams, and they're voting in the media and those kinds of stuff. And it's interesting how SMU has joined up, and Belichick
I still can't get used to SMU in the ACC either. But
I've adjusted quickly, because my thing is you got to adjust.
Right.
To me, it's no different when, and I'm not blaming fans for this, but when fans would complain, guys only stay here a year, one and done, I don't get to know the guys. Well, I had no choice. It was my job. I had to get to know the guys. But I think if you want to, you can get to know the guys. So everything changes so much, you just have to adjust. Something hit me when Oregon left. I'm going, okay, it's a jigsaw puzzle. All bets are off. By the way, did you see? Oh, yeah. So Belichick is the 8th team at odds of 30-1 to win the league.
I don't know enough about their roster, and I've not been as big on the Belichick hire as a lot of people either.
Well, you got to have talent. By the way, he's got a hell of an offensive coordinator, Freddie Kitchens, and Gio Lopez, the kid
I'm a big Cleveland Browns fan. I'm not so sure about Freddie Kitchens.
But wait a second. Freddie Kitchens was a really good offensive coordinator
He is a good offensive coordinator.
Who didn't do a good job as a head coach.
He is a good offensive coordinator.
Freddie Kitchens has been a really good offensive coordinator for a long, long time. Okay? And he's Belichick's offensive coordinator. I respect that a lot. As a matter of fact, he's got some really good coaches on his staff.
Well, that's not surprising. I mean, a lot of people probably still want to work for Bill Belichick. I'll be interested to see where that thing is 3 years from now.
Well, this kid, Gio Lopez, who's supposed to be the starter, was very good at South Alabama. How that'll transpose North Carolina, I mean, I have no idea at all. Anyway, I wanted to ask you about the Lachey thing. Hey, Jimmy, can you cue up the short thing that we put in the open, not the whole minute and 20 thing? Did you hear Stoops, what he said the other day on ESPN radio in reaction? Listen to the short soundbite, and I'll give you the little quick synopsis. Then I want your reaction, Gene. This is like almost taking something out of context, but the truth is this is really the synopsis of what he's saying. Jimmy, wouldn't you agree when Stoops is so worried, they're going to take a quote and they're going to blow it up and all that kind of stuff? But this is a small quote, and it's the most powerful thing, but it really amplifies before we play it, Gene. You tell me if I'm wrong. This is taking a small thing, and it really is what he was saying the whole time, right?
No, this is the best way to sum up a minute and 20 seconds into 5 seconds. It's exact. You know everything he means by this 5 seconds.
Gosh darn it, Gene. He said it better than I did. Please play it.
He wants to take a crack at it. Come on, strap it on. Come try it, because I can promise you it's not easy.
That was Stoops responding to Lachey, the SMU coach, who basically was dissing the SEC, saying since 1964, Lashley. Jimmy, did I got that right?
Yeah, Rhett Lashley,
who was a quarterback in the SEC and an offensive coordinator in the SEC, he was downplaying the SEC, saying only 6 teams since 1964 have won national championships in the SEC. Well, that's What league has had 6 teams win a national championship? So he says the league is top heavy. What the hell? I mean, this is, you know what I think he's doing? I got one more and I want you to respond. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of John Calipari. Let's see if you think this is a stretch. When he was a kid head coach at UMass, he did anything to tick off Jim Calhoun. He went after him. He got under his nerves. I think he made up crap to go after him, and that's why they hated each other. And Cal ended up hating Calhoun because Calhoun wasn't going to take it, got back of him, and Calhoun had some writers in the Boston Globe who would go after Cal because Calhoun had him in his back pocket. And I think all he's doing is trying to agitate because he can't be stupid enough to believe it. This is a hell of a football guy. This is a really good football coach. This is a guy who might have better opportunities than SMU or stay there. He knows what the SEC is. He played in the SEC. He coached in the SEC. He can't believe this crap, can he?
No, I do not think he believes that. But I was glad to hear Stoops have a little fire. They're firing back at him. Was a 6 of them. Most of the time, there's only 10 teams in the league, wasn't there? And the other thing, I don't, off the top of my head, what is like 5 of them won a championship since this century? I'm going through the top of my head, but to me, that is the most amazing statistic about the SEC is that it hasn't been one team that keeps winning national titles. It's the Alabama, Florida had its run, LSU had its run, of course, Georgia, Alabama. I mean, that's the most amazing thing about the SEC, and the thing that proves the power of it is the depth of it over the years. And to say that only 6 of them have won it is hilarious.
Not only that, Gene, are you forgetting? Was it 1950? I'm losing my mind here. 1950, where Kentucky won the national championship. It took decades later when they gave it to him. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Do I remember it? No, Alan, I do not remember it. Do you? But yes, I know what you're talking about.
Man, I put you on YouTube, and just because you're not wearing a suit and tie like I'm not, you're getting a little sensitive. But, seriously, not trying to be a homer. I'm being very, very serious. Why shouldn't Kentucky, with all their bad years in football, there have been plenty. You and I have watched a lot of bad football. You're pulling your hair out, but why shouldn't they get some love for winning the night? It is 1950. The national, it's got to be. Jimmy, help me look it up. Whatever. When Paul Bear Bryant was here, they did it after the fact. They gave Kentucky the national championship, and I remember we come to a press conference one day, and Tony Neely brought in the trophy and that kind of stuff, and Kentucky made a big deal of it, as they should. It was richly deserved. And the thing that I didn't know when I came to work here in the 80s, and then I want you to go off, I could not believe, and I didn't know it till I moved to Lexington, Kentucky, and then think about it. I really never covered the SEC or this kind of football, so that wouldn't be the kind of thing I'd know. But I couldn't believe that they would vote on the national championship before the whole season was over. I never understood. They did that forever. How stupid is that until they finally fixed it? But don't you think Kentucky should be mentioned because they've won a national championship?
Well, certainly when you're talking about teams from the SEC that have won it, they should be mentioned.
But they never are.
But don't you think that's because no matter what the Kentucky is the basket, it's just like when people talk about the SEC in basketball, maybe they mention Alabama and then Florida now, but until recently they mentioned Kentucky. And it's just the history and tradition of it. And unfortunately, Kentucky's football tradition doesn't stand up very strong compared to many other schools in the conference. I mean, teams that ain't won championships. I mean, like Mississippi's football tradition is if they won the championship, but that's long and strong. And but I just don't think in the SEC, Kentucky so far down the ladder it comes up.
Unfortunately, I happen to agree with you, but I think it should be mentioned.
Well, we will agree on that one.
Hurts, doesn't it? Hurts, doesn't it?
Sometimes you got to give a little pain.
Are you listening to what I call, and I'm glad to have it, all these positive comments coming out of UK basketball? I love this team. I found it interesting. And look, there's no question in my mind, John Rothstein knows tons more. And I'm going to put you in the boat than you and I know about the teams he put in his top 10. I don't know of anybody who knows more about all these particular teams than he does. I'm not a snippet compared to him. And plus, I respect it. I don't know him, but I respect the hell out of him. I've been watching his stuff he lives basketball 365 days a year. I was a little surprised, or maybe I'm being too gobbledygook, and please tell me, and I want your thought, Gene, that he doesn't have Kentucky in his latest two early top teams, and he doesn't have them in the top 10.
I wasn't totally surprised. To me, the consensus seems to be they hang around anywhere from like 8 to 12 to 13 in most of the polls. Didn't John, who I respect totally, didn't he have them in the middle of the SEC last year? And some people really sort of belittled that, and that's sort of where they finished. I really like this team. I still want to see more. I'm still debating whether I think the starting five better than the starting five last year. Now, the depth is unquestionably better, and if they hadn't had some of the injuries last year, they may have kept going. But if you take it position, are we sure this is a better starting five than a year ago?
Well, I'm going to answer a question with a question. Is JQ going to be in the starting lineup from the beginning of the year, which I don't think, and I bet you don't think either.
Well, that's to me the biggest game changer in the whole thing.
Right. If JQ's in the starting lineup, this is definitely a better starting lineup.
And it's a top 10 team.
Absolutely. And you've said what I've said, if Butler was healthy, everybody forgets about Creasa. And if Jackson Robinson was healthy, I'm not saying they would have won the national championship because I don't believe that, although you never know. But I think the odds of them beating Tennessee were exponentially better, no question about that. And so when people say Kentucky, well, it got about as far as they can go. Well, everybody has injuries, but injuries sometimes affect you. I mean, injuries cost Bob Huggins the national championship. No question about it in my mind, and a lot of people's minds, when the best player in the country, Martin, ripped his knee, and they were done. They were done.
Well,
and they might not have won it, but they were the best team in the country. So you can say next man up, but half the time it's a bunch of BS.
Well, and their injuries last year kept hitting the same spot. I mean, your point guard gets hurt, and then when he's playing, he's hurt. Your backup point guard is just done. Your third point guard gets hurt and doesn't play in the tournament. So you're down to a talented and really smart basketball player, Travis Perry, having to play, but he wasn't ready. Nobody expected that. I mean, it's one thing; it just hit the same spot, and a lot of people would argue there's no more important position than point guard.
Purdue, Houston, St. John's, Florida, Michigan, UConn, UCLA, BYU, Duke, and Texas Tech are Rothstein's top 10.
I'm surprised Louisville's not in there.
I would not have been surprised if they were in. And my other thing when I saw the list was BYU. As long as that gentleman who's their big sugar daddy continues to do what he's doing, they'll probably be in the top 10 for many, 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 many years.
That's probably correct.
They have money.
But these preseason things it's so difficult now when so much of a roster is determined by portal kids. And that's just life now. And I mean, I'm assuming most of those, probably the rosters at the top didn't get hit real hard. I'm guessing that's why they're at the top, and they probably deserve to be. But it's hard to predict teams when 70% of the team is players that weren't even on the roster last year.
Yeah, and by the way, you brought up a really good point because Rothstein did get criticism, and I don't remember if I did or not, to tell you the truth. But he had Kentucky in the middle of the pack. You're right, and he had one of the better. I don't remember exactly where he had him, but he had one of the best predictions of Kentucky. Look, I don't know anybody knows. Matt Norlinger. There's probably 4 or 5. Mike DeCourcy. There's 4 or 5 people that I would put on a huge elite level. None of them named Alan Cutler or Gene Abel, honestly, when it comes to really knowing each one of these kids and that kind of stuff. And so, on the one hand, who am I to question it? I just like this roster so much, and please don't tell me I'm being a homer.
No, I like this roster a lot, and the player I'm most interested in and most sort of excited to see is Cam Williams. I think he possibly, I'm just going out on a limb here, and I haven't seen him play in a real game. I think he could be a real game changer on this team, and may end up being the highest draft choice. Forgetting Quaintance right now, but I think if you put one more guy in there that is a first round type talent, it changes everything. And I could be wrong. He's the player I'm most excited and interested to see play.
And I will remember, you will remember better than me. You said this on July 25th. nobody wants to hear anything negative, and you don't want any injuries. It'd be nice if all teams had no injuries. That's not the real world. We all know that. But it'll be very interesting, almost fascinating to see how minutes are divvied up. Nobody's going to complain to the media, and it'd be nice if they really felt it. They would say it, but they're not going to do it. And I understand and respect it, and so do you. But it's going to be interesting to see how minutes are divvied up and how people really feel about it. And hey, Jimmy, do me a favor. Cue this up. The Malachi Marino short soundbite we played to open the show. And I absolutely unequivocally believe this from Malachi Marino, and I want your thought on it. But I also want you to then comment after you hear this what you think about minutes, and could that be an issue? And I think it's worth discussing. But this is what Marino said yesterday to the media.
I got one goal only, and that's to win number 9. Whether I play 5 minutes or 25 minutes, as long as we're winning, I could care less.
I buy it, by the way.
I don't think any question he's telling the truth, and he's honest about that. I think if you'd asked the same thing, Trent Noah and Travis Perry would have said the same thing last year. And I think it's true in all cases. I think the minutes are going. I'm not going to say they're going to be an issue. I think it's going to be a real challenge, but you're going to have somebody not playing in some game, somebody playing 2 or 3 minutes in a game who was either a starter somewhere before, who was a really, who came back from Kentucky this year from last year, or who was a very high profile high school player. So all those people aren't going to get a lot of minutes. Somebody's going to be sitting, not playing in some games, and that's going to be I don't know that it'll be an issue, but it's going to be a real challenge for Mark Pope, and probably one of the biggest challenges he's going to face. And that happens when you start struggling. When you're winning, everybody's happy. I want number 9. That's what, I'm chipping in how I can. But if suddenly go out and you get pummeled a couple of times, you lose 2 or 3 in a row, that's when you find out.
I will slightly disagree. It'll be a kumbaya when they're winning, but there'll be some kids who might play 8 minutes or 10 minutes in 2 wins in a row when they could play 25, 26, 27 minutes on some other teams. And even with Kentucky winnings, they'll internalize it. They'll keep their mouth shut. I don't question that, but they're not going to be happy. I just think it's human nature. And I think these kids knew it when they came here. But they were up for playing competition to see how they would do. And I do buy that. And I think what it seems like they're all great kids, which is interesting. But I do think quietly it will become more of an issue than we're ever going to find out. I think it's human nature. I'm not trying to start anything. I think it's human nature.
I don't doubt that those kids will be wondering if they should be playing more. I just think it's a whole lot easier to accept when you're in a locker room that's celebrating all the time and a team that has great chemistry and that's rolling. You accept that a lot easier than when the team starts hitting a bump or two.
Putting it that way, I couldn't agree more. Real quick, I'm out of time, but I'm curious. Are you like me? I'll believe it when I see it. If the Reds do anything that's intelligent to improve their team, and they're too cheap to spend more money, and they won't give up players, and it comes to the forefront, like Naylor just went from Arizona to Seattle. Seattle supposedly, most people who know a lot more than me say they've got one of the top 5 minor league systems. They just gave up 2 really good pitchers, but it's not their elite prospect pitcher-wise. And for a rental, they gave up 2 really good arms for a rental, and the Reds wouldn't do that kind of thing, I don't think, and I don't see any hope of the Reds making some moves that will facilitate them making the playoffs. Tell me I'm wrong.
I wouldn't disagree with that, and I'm way past expecting the Reds to do that. I will say, and I think I've said this a couple of times in the last 6 weeks on here, I still think if Hunter Green was healthy, the Reds could potentially get in the playoffs. If he comes back next week, and let's say he's got 8 or 9, 10 starts left, that's the difference in 2 or 3 games winning. They could get in the play. If they would get in the playoffs, a rotation of Hunter Green, Lodola, Abbott, that's a pretty good start. But you're right. I mean, the Reds aren't going to spend money. They don't make wise moves. But I still think they have a chance if they could get Hunter Green back. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But he's one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball on his own. And you can't afford to. He hadn't pitched since May.
Yeah, I said preseason that he would be one of the leading candidates for a Cy Young Award if he had the year, I thought. And yeah, if he was healthy now, they might have had, let's say, 2 more wins. Well, that's a big difference this time of year. 2 wins is a lot.
If it's 2 or 3 wins down in the next remainder of the season, that's a big difference. It could be a big difference. But wouldn't you agree that could be one nasty rotation if they could get in the playoffs?
One of the best rotations in baseball to lead with those guys. And Martinez then is your long guy coming out of the pen, and they should have already traded him when he was hot.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, Gene, thank you. I don't know who's more dapper, you and I on YouTube. What do you think?
I think I'm gonna have to go out and get some new clothes. It looks like. give me some warning before the next time. I'll make sure.
Your T-shirt is just fine, thank you. Hey, man, I appreciate you. Have a lovely weekend. Just keep doing what you're doing, and thank you for gracing us with your time.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Gene Abel, retired, longtime, outstanding sports editor of the Lexington Herald Leader. Oh, man, Jimmy, I just scratched my nose. I didn't pick my nose. I scratched my nose. That was on YouTube.
Yeah. Every move.
Be careful. It's interesting. I'm just talking, and so, because we're doing Zoom, I can see me and I'm going, what are you doing? Well, it's a normal thing to do. Oh, boy.
As long as you clarified, now you're good.
Well, anybody who watched could see what I wasn't doing. Come on. You're trying to start something, Jimmy.
No, just make sure you clarify, just so, things can be clipped out of context.
Okay. Now, by the way, I've covered my screen. Can you still see me?
No, I cannot.
Oh, interesting. Then I'm going to have to do this a different way. Okay, I will do it this way this time, and then I'm going to have to change. Can you see the page up now?
No, I don't see anything.
You don't see anything? Okay, I will make an adjustment for next time. I got to switch some equipment here. Terry Page, Terry Page, a great massage therapist with her, what she calls her big, beautiful deal, that schedule an appointment now, and she's almost booked for all of next week and has them bookings for the following week. Things have changed with this deal. People are calling up. Book an appointment now, get $5 off, schedule your next appointment before you leave, and it's $10 off the following appointments in succession. Call or text 859-373-0578, 859-373-0578. She's now in Butler, Kentucky, and here in Lexington. But call her, the Spirit Essentials, to get an appointment. She has been amazing for me. Thank you, Gene. Appreciate you. Bo Lantern coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
It's summertime, and that means it's time to hit the road. Whether you're heading across town or across the state, going on a picnic, to a baseball game, or driving to the lake, stop by, fill up, and stock up at Clark's Pump and Shop, your road trip headquarters.
Clark's Pump and Shop has everything you need to get you to your summertime destination, including assorted Hershey's, Reese's, or Kit Kat standard-sized candy bars, 2 for $2, and Uncle Ray's potato chips, 3-ounce bags for $1.99.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Remember, your next Volvo is right down the road at Quantrell Volvo. With every Volvo model, legendary safety meets exceptional design. Luxury can only take you so far unless you're in a Volvo. So, as vacations and staycations call this summer, you know your experience will be fast and friendly with no gimmicks at Quantrell. That's a family-owned difference. From new and used Volvos to expert service. For 60 years, for everything Volvo, it's got to be Quantrell Volvo. Visit QuantrellVolvo.com, QuantrellVolvo.com.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank, time to thrive. Member FDIC.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1300 and 92.5. WLXG Lexington, an LM Communications broadcasting station.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment. Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
I watched almost every game, if not every one. I know they had a really good team last year. Reading the offense, seeing that they were all, veteran players, seeing that they think really well and gel together. It seemed like their chemistry was a big part of, them being able to go on a run and make it to the Elite Eight. But they were all really talented guys. A couple of them are in the NBA right now, doing summer league and stuff like that. So learning from them and still talking to guys like Kobe. I seen that Coach was talking about him in the group chat last night of his body movement and his shooting mechanics and things like that. We should all try to model our game after, doing things like him. So just trying to better myself and, watch the other guys and grow in my position.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. That's Jasper Johnson as we're playing some Jasper sound. We'll play more at 1:30. Probably some Malachi Marino also at 1:30. Maybe Braden Hawthorne if we have some time. If not, we'll do it on Monday. And I guess, Bo, I should have told you because you would have worn a tuxedo. You're now on YouTube. The ESPN Sports Radio 1300 AM. If anybody wants to subscribe, that's great as we're growing and changing and stuff like that. I guess I didn't think I have to warn you. Nobody's come to do the show shirtless. You could get away with it. Trust me, I could not. If we have 2 subscribers, I would lose 2 right away. How are you, dude?
I'm doing good. I would have worn a tux. This is a tux at my age.
You know what? You're right. Hey, at our age, we're covered. It's a beautiful thing. Jasper is such a respectful young man, and like all these freshmen, has a thirst and drive and desire to be great. And watching the team last year, he learned some things and that kind of stuff. You got to love this kid's attitude. And he admits, hey, I got to get stronger. And I'm doing extra weightlifting, eating extra, doing everything I'm told, and that kind of thing.
I think that's part of Coach Pope's, game plan is not only the talent, but the type of people that you want in your program and to blend with not only your fans, but your teammates and your student body and everything else. I think that's part of his whole goal of making Kentucky the top program in the country.
Olander, father of Todd, kind enough to join us. You played for Joe B. What years?
I graduated in 82. I was there from 79, 80, 81, and 82.
Only seems like it was yesterday, doesn't it?
Oh, I know. It's crazy. Coach Hall did me I had gone to Texas for a year, transferred back, and basically the deal I made him, I met with him before he left for St. Louis in 78 for the championship and told him I wanted to transfer back, and he advised me not to come, but because we had the best guards, we had Macy and Scheidler, and we had Minifield and Anderson coming in, and he said, if you'll practice with the team for a year, then the coaches have to unanimously vote to put you on scholarship to stay. And so I did, and they did, and it was a blessing from Coach Hall. Appreciate it.
And I bet nobody, even with all those talent, played harder in practice than you did because you were on display every single practice. Your practice was to prove to Joe B. and the coaching staff that you belonged.
Well, no question. And people ask me all the time, do I wish I'd have stayed in Texas or gone somewhere else? And my answer has always been, I was the best player I could be because of who I played against every day. And I got better and better and better. And my job was to beat people to the ball, beat people, be tough, fight over picks, show them I'm willing to do it so that they have to do it. And I think that was part of his plan. And I think that's what coaches need. They need guys that are going to give 100% and make sure that the superstars are giving their 100%.
You and Todd have such a great attitude about, look, both of you could have played a lot of minutes at a lot of schools. Duh, that's pretty obvious. And you gave that up to be here because you wanted to be here. And I think it's worked out great for both of you guys. And it's a credit to both of you guys. But in many cases, I think people that sit on the bench have regrets by not playing, but because of your attitude and how you did it, even let's say if you went to Moorhead, I'm not disrespecting Moorhead, you know me better than that, and scored 15 points a game, you probably were better off here. Is that nuts?
But no, there's no question. I got my satisfaction out of wearing Kentucky across my chest, whether that happened to be on the floor or whether that happened to be on the bench. That was okay. I've always had people say that I think you should have played more, but that's what everybody said. You were talking earlier about these players and how they're going to mix the match, and every one of their closest friends and family members and coaches are telling them how great they are, and they should be playing more if they're the ones that are not getting all the minutes. And you have to back away and pull yourself away from your main supporters and look at what is Coach Pope trying to do? What can I do better to help the team? And sometimes that's, loving the people that love you the most, but at the same time, their visions and interpretation of your abilities, especially as far as what Coach Pope might be trying to do, is completely different in a lot of cases. And it's my point is, the ones that love you the most are the ones that are sometimes gonna create problems for you between your ears, and you just need to look what's going on the floor with your teammates and figure out what you can do best.
I like how you put that problems between your ears, because it's true.
It
It's
is.
life. Have you been able to wink, go down and see any practices?
No, I have not. I've actually been. It's been kind of a crazy year for me with just stuff going on in the things that I do and stuff I'm trying to build, and I have not gotten away, but I'm planning on it here in the next few days. Slide in there.
I'm still waiting for Pope to invite me. It's a good thing I'm not holding my breath. I'd love to go to practice. I would go a couple days a week if they let me. If they say you can't say anything, I get it. But at my age, after doing the show, really, family, working out, the show, basketball practice, that would be just a perfect thing. Maybe Pope is listening. I doubt he's listening.
Are you a golfer? Don't you have to slide some golf in there, don't you?
No, I don't golf. After I've had 2 shoulder reconstructive surgeries, so I grew up literally on a golf course caddying for 8 years and played a lot of golf, and I was terrible, but I love playing golf for drinking a beer and horsing around and the funny things that go on. I haven't tried to hit a ball, probably about 15 years. The last time it's more. And I bet my shoulder would be fine now, but the last time I tried, just hit about 10 balls, my shoulder started blowing up, and I still do the rehab to this day.
Well, that's one sport. The more I play, the more respect I have for pro golfers. It's truly amazing what those guys can do.
And under pressure.
Yes. And people watching and money on the line and everything else. And I actually have a friend of mine that was a 4 handicap that went and played, Oakmont or whatever, where the guy that won it was 1 under and there was nobody even, and everybody else was over par. The guy's a 4 handicap. He shot a 117. And he said, I really wasn't that upset. He said, because the adulation is the green, the pin placements, the height of the rough, the thickness of the rough. He said, if you're not in the middle of the fairway and got short putts, you're in trouble.
Have you ever been to Oakmont, by the way?
No.
It's as tough as you think it is. Seriously.
No,
I was there one time, and I didn't play, by the way. I don't want to make it of something that's not doing his story. And I was like, how does anybody shoot par in this place?
Not very many do.
No, it was absolutely. I'll give you my favorite quote, and we're going to go back to basketball. Lee Trevino, as you know, played golf here when the seniors tour were beginning. And he came here one year, and there was about 3 of us in a little small interview, and he was very gracious with his time. Not that surprises anyone. And he had the best record against Jack Nicklaus, better record than Arnold Palmer did, and never got enough credit for that. And he was so calm and cool. I mean, he used to bet in 7th grade on a par 3. He would play somebody for meal money and $5 and stuff like that with a Coke bottle and tee off on holes that were 40, 50, 60 yards and win money, hustle money that way. He had to hustle for a living. He quit school in like 7th grade. And it's funny, even though he quit school in 7th grade, if I remember right, it was 7th or 8th grade, I'm pretty sure it was 7th, one of the smartest people I've ever talked to, seriously, because he had such knowledge and common sense. So whatever the heck we were talking about, this thing came up on choking, and I didn't start it. I'd like to say I did. He's talking about, there's a lot of choking that goes on, and I just went, wait, just like this. Wait a second. He's kind of looking at me like, wow. Wait a second. You tell me, Lee, when you win a tournament, you choked? He goes, I win a tournament, I choke. I just choke less than everybody else. And I've never forgotten that comment. Yeah. So he's so comfortable in his own skin that when he chokes, I think, and he admitted this, it makes him easy to recover. He said, look how I grew up. So I missed the shot. I choked. I missed the shot. It's not life and death. And I think his background enabled him to become one of the clutch pro golfers in the world over a number of years.
I agree with that. And a lot of it comes back to the repetitiveness and the confidence you have in your game to recover. Yeah, you may choke, or you call it a choke just because you happen to miss it at the wrong time, but the next time you're going to make it. And that's just whether it's a free throw or a 3-foot putt or whatever the case may be. When you start playing the amount of golf that he played, or the amount of basketball a lot of these guys play, it's repetitiveness, and that's why you practice, and that's why you go hard, and that's why you continue to build your game.
By the way, what do you shoot?
Every now and then I'll get down in the low 70s, but I don't play the big courses. I don't play the real difficult ones, but I'll go to like Golf Club, the Bluegrass, and I'll shoot a 76 to an 84.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll roll in the fairways. And I'm gonna have a beer, like you said, and I'm gonna have some fun. I don't get all bent out of shape over it.
You're not getting ready for the senior tour. Hey, Jimmy, do me a favor. Cue up clip number 9. I want to play this for Bo Lanther, kind enough to join us, and give me a thumbs up when you have it.
Clip 9 from who?
That would help if I tell you from who.
There's a lot of clip 9s over the last few weeks.
You're right. You're supposed to be the amazing Kreskin and figure this thing out from Jasper. So I really like this, and I bet you do too, but you vividly remember the days, we hate Louisville. Look, all these kids want to beat Louisville. They really want to beat Louisville. And some of the young guys have admitted how much they want to beat Louisville, and that's fine. But Mikael Brown, who played, as you know, on the USA team under 19, and he was a star for them in Switzerland. Well, he's really good friends with Jasper, which is great. Some of these guys know each other. And they have won 2 medals together. And they're good buddies. Now, Jasper wants to beat the blank black out of Louisville for 2 reasons. 1, he's a Kentucky boy. And 2, it's a little something extra when your friend's on the line. But see, I think it's cool. And some people get upset. I can't imagine you will, but you'll tell me that, so what? He's on Louisville. They're friends. Now on the court, you want to beat the blank, 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 blank out of them, and then you go back to being friends. Some Kentucky fans don't think you should have friends on the other team. And I've dealt with it. And I bet you have too. Anyway, here's Jasper's comment, and then Bo Lanther, I want you to comment, talking about being friends with Mikael Brown.
We definitely talk trash, mentioned it a couple of different times. I can't wait to, see him and play. But, yeah, we definitely are really close. We both have won 2 gold medals together. I've known Mikael since freshman, sophomore year. So it's great to see his game grow. I know he still talks to this day. He's building up to, when we played him at Young. But I feel like it's going to be a great game. He's a great player, and I love to compete at a high level. So we'll definitely go at it.
Yeah, Bo Lanther, I think this is a lovely soundbite. I think he's got a great attitude, great life. My friend, we're good friends. Went 2 gold medals together. Yeah, we're talking trash. And yeah, I want to beat the blank out of him. I think that's perfect. Do you think there'll be some fans that'll misconstrue this?
I hope not. You got to go back to my era. My era was before we even played Louisville. In fact, some of the funnest practices that I was involved in, every year we would play Notre Dame between Christmas and New Year in Freedom Hall. And a lot of the people, the Kentucky fans in Louisville that couldn't come to the Rupp games, we would have an open practice the day before the Notre Dame game up there. And those practices were absolutely phenomenal because of the people in the Louisville area that were Kentucky fans. And some of them might have also been Louisville fans, but it was great to go up there and practice. We always look forward to that Notre Dame game. I don't know how they talked Digger Phelps into that being a neutral site, because it was probably rougher than there than it would have been at Rupp, just because of the fans were so anxious to get to see us on a home court for Louisville. But we didn't play Louisville back in my days, and there was always an animosity back and forth. And then, of course, you had the whole Patino thing where he went to Louisville. But to me, it's a compliment. I always pull for, like, I'm probably a bigger Louisville fan than I am like an LSU fan. But if LSU is playing Louisville, I'll pull for LSU just because of the SEC. But I'm fine with Louisville doing well. I don't want them to beat Kentucky. I think it's one of the top teams Kentucky would like to beat. But at the same time, it's competitiveness. You get in the pros, you play your buddies, constantly. So you just got to learn to set that aside and play what's on, play as hard as you can because of what's on your chest, and then you be buddies when it's over.
It's a perfect answer. I started the experience for the first time when I came back to Lexington, and Rex was on the team. The story got out. I think I wasn't the only one doing the story that in the summertime, kids are kids. Guys who play for Louisville, guys who play for Kentucky. I mean, they're great players. They're young. They like to have a good time. They like to play ball in the summer. They have so many similarities to basketball players. And the Kentucky guys and the Louisville guys, a lot of them were really, really good friends. Everybody knows Rex almost went to Louisville anyway. And they would work out in the summer, stuff like that. And after doing a story, it wasn't like tons, but for about a week, I got a bunch of phone calls that people said, you should tell. Worst thing to do is call me up and tell me what I should tell somebody to do. That
Right.
never sat with no matter what it is. Even though I agree with them, no. I'm not your messenger boy. I've told a couple people I'm not your messenger boy. And you can see me doing that, can't you? And they would say, you tell Rex not to fraternize with the Louisville people. You're not supposed to do that. They're Louisville and him. And if that's how you feel, okay. I'm not telling you how to feel, but these are 18, 19-year-old kids. They like to go out and they like to have a good time and they like to play basketball in the summer. And it's the best competition. What do you want them to go to the YMCA, play a bunch of 40-year-old guys, work out in the stage, And so there was a bunch of animosity back then with fans. That I absolutely know. I think it's softened up a lot.
Well, I think here's the main point of that is if Rex is playing with the Louisville guys in the summer, he's going to try to beat their butt just as bad as he would if it was in the middle of Rupp Arena. I mean,
absolutely.
The mentality of those guys is whether there's 25,000 people looking at it or not, when Rex got on the floor, he's going to do whatever he can do to kick that guy's butt and vice versa. And that's what we're talking about. It's the competition of Kentucky against Louisville, regardless of who's watching. And I'll guarantee you they went at it.
Oh, they did. And it was fun.
Then when they walked away, they both lied. Regardless of who won, they both talked about how they kicked the other one's butt.
It's normal stuff. It's normal stuff. Let me throw a curveball at you. Do you have any hope for the football season? Boy, there's a pregnant pause before answering.
Well, I kind of got to bite my lip when it comes to
no. Come on, no, Bo. It's you and I talking. Just a little conversation.
When it comes to SEC football and NIL and just the sheer dominance of a lot of these football programs, and I think we're in trouble. I hope Stoops is able to corral the kids and be competitive, but it just seems to me like it's not only we got some great quality players, but it seems like it's always the depth that gets us. And I really think losing Vince Merrill is gonna cost us. Vince and I are good buddies. I like him. I think hopefully it's a good move for him. But I'm a little scared of this football program coming. I mean this year.
I think the offensive world. No, I understand. I think the offensive line is going to be much better, and I've been saying it, but I don't know if it's going to be good enough or how much better. I do think it'll be much better, which might not be saying much because last year they were off. This kid, Pete, I never pronounced his first name right. He's a mountain man, and the kid that nobody talks about, and I was glad to see Jeff Picoro mention him this morning when I was listening to him with Leach, because I've been mentioning him too, the Braun kid from Arkansas. The kid was one of the better offensive linemen in the league last year. Right. Nobody's talking about him. He came up from Arkansas. So I guarantee you they're going to be running left a lot. And the defense going against Kentucky already knows they're going to be running left a lot. It's going to be, now you're going to stop me. It'd be very interesting if the tight end lines up on the left. So now you got 3 blockers and stuff. But I think the line's going to be much better. Good enough?
What do you know about the depth?
I don't. I have no clue, and I'm not going to guess.
Yeah. See, that's what's always, to me, even when we were winning more and playing better, I think we had a little bit more depth. And that's what always scares me. And I know enough about football to be dangerous, that especially when you start looking at, 80 players. But it just always seems like, and I think that's why Nick Saban got out. He used to have a stable of 4 offensive tackles that are 6'7", 350 pounds. And now the guys that are second, third, and fourth are saying, hey, if I'm not playing, I'm going over here because I can get paid. And it's just, there's so many people, so much athleticism, and the movement with NIL and the transfer portals. And I've said this to you before. I know the issues we went through with 15 basketball players, 12 to 15 basketball players. I can't imagine coaching and running and dealing with 85 football players, with not only on the field, but practices and workouts and school and relationships, and everybody has their personal issues that the coaches want to try to help. I mean, it's a lot to try to manage, which I guess that's why they have a lot of assistant coaches. But that goes back to, I think a lot of them have respected Coach Merrill, and now that he's gone, I don't know who fills that gap.
There's no question. A lot of the guys went to Vince, whether he recruited them or not. He was the go-to guy for helping people out. There's no question about that. By the way, it's either 4 or 5, and I don't remember. I think it was 5, and one of them came here, and I can't think of the young man's name. But 4 top recruits for Saban who didn't play on the offensive line. We're talking about 4 and 5 stars, all left Alabama. And the young man from Kentucky, name escapes me, I'm sorry, who was a backup there, but from Kentucky, he came here and was a backup here too. But he lost, boom, all his depth. And some of those kids were going to play the following year. It was just kind of like, we're out of here, da-da-da-da. And you would think, okay, it could happen to Alabama a little bit under Saban, but this was like a wow. And then they had no depth. And they had to go even younger for depth because so many kids left. Last one. Your take. This was around the time you were playing. And I know you heard it. There's no question about that, where people would say, Kentucky can't win in football. Let's join the ACC. And now Inside Carolina, supposed to be a respected site, so what I've always been told, is saying North Carolina is looking at possibly joining. That's if the SEC wants them, which will be interesting. And I would think, yes, possibly joining the SEC. The exit fee would be, at this point, $147 million. If you would have told me when I started doing sports here the first time in the 1980s that North Carolina would ever think about joining the SEC, I would have told you to take a drug test, because it was always, Kentucky would do so much better in football in the ACC. And I would always say that might be true. But there are some kids who come here because they want to play in the SEC, and people often didn't realize that. Anyway, you have a take on that, or is this shocking? And this, or now we're going to go down to a couple leagues instead of like 5 leagues or 6 leagues?
I'm shocked because I think the SEC thinks they're the best conference, and the ACC thinks they're the best conference, and there's a lot of pride in the conferences, where, especially when it comes to football, I guess, in the SEC, and basketball in the ACC. So I'm kind of shocked, especially a program like North Carolina, but it seems that they're turning more to a couple of large super conferences.
Yep.
And I think Kentucky and the SEC, and in both football and basketball, and quite frankly other sports, it seems to be getting more legs under them than some of the others are. But
who knows?
I'm shocked.
I was too. And I got to tell you, if North Carolina leaves, and this, Florida State and Clemson had sued the ACC, and they've withdrawn their suits, but that doesn't mean it's all kumbaya. And if there's this mass exodus in the ACC, if there is, I'm not predicting, and I don't know, but the thought has to be out there, then their TV contract is not worth bupkis in comparison. If you would lose North Carolina, and although Clemson and Florida State at least calmed down to some degree, and those three schools, what are the television rights of the ACC worth? Nothing.
Well, not only the TV rights, but what are the winning the ACC? What does it really mean? And then you start getting into the teams that get into tournaments, and I'm shocked that they would even consider it, just because I think they have a lot of pride in the ACC for North Carolina, just like Kentucky does in the SEC. And it's hard for me to believe that they would do that. But if they do, obviously it makes the SEC stronger.
Let's put it this way. That story will cause all kinds of problems in ACC land. I don't think it's as big a deal, obviously, here, but in their territory, woo-wee.
No question.
Anything you want to plug, my friend? Thank you for your time. Your golf game?
No, I just always appreciate being part of your program, and enjoy listening to you. And we need to get together and have a cold one night.
Yeah, my eye is over 50% back, so it's I'm healing nicely, but I'm not there yet. So when I get healthy, hopefully in about 3 weeks, knock on wood, prayers accepted. Let's absolutely do it. I got to tell you, I was blind for a little over a month in one eye. Not a fun deal. And sleeping and some stuff, I have to be very careful.
I tell you what, it's my motto these days is check your ego at the door. If you go over about 70 or 80%, it's that last 20% of something that's going to get you hurt. I don't care if it's how hard you swing a golf club, how fast you run, how much you lift, whatever. It's that last 20%. My goal is not to get hurt.
Mine too, because it takes so much longer to get back. Actually, because of my eye, I've had to change how I work out and had to be very ginger, and I still am. And you know what? I'm going to work out this way probably from now on. I do very, very light weights because I have to, but I'm doing a ton of reps, and I'm still getting a heck of a workout. I mean,
lighter weight, full range of motion.
Yep. Oh, I'm big on the full range. I'm big on full range of motion.
Less stress on the elbows, shoulders, and knees.
You know, that's funny you said it, because I have no cartilage in one of my knees that was supposed to be replaced. And thank God I didn't have it replaced, because I'm fixing it myself, thanks to Dwayne Carr, my buddy, who put me on a program. Yeah. And yet my elbows and wrists and knees don't hurt like they would have before, just because I'm using a lighter weight. So I discovered a better way to work out unintentionally.
That's my motto. Believe me, less weight, full reps. Don't hurt yourself.
Wait till you get to be my age. It gets worse. How old are you now? You're much younger than me.
65.
Yeah, you're a kid. You're a kid. Get off my phone. Can't have
Hey,
these
I
kids
told
on
you
my
before.
shoulder.
I'm a year younger than my wife. So until she says she's old, I'm good.
Good. You know what? That's one of the keys to being old. Don't think you're old.
That's right.
Hey, man. Bless you. Thank you. Always appreciate your time. I'll catch you down the road, and we'll have a break. Give me about 3 weeks, and then I'll feel a lot more comfortable about stuff.
You can't drink with one eye?
Answer for that. Me.
I'll wait, but it sounds like an excuse to me. I can close both my eyes if it makes it for you to show up.
Actually, seriously, for about 6 weeks, I drove at night twice. One really close, and that's fine. But once I had to go pick up my wife at the airport, and then it was scary. Seriously, scary. And no depth perception. Couldn't see much on the right. Not good. I've almost bunked into people at Whole Foods. We have some pillars here. I've walked into them. Lack of depth perception. It's not fun. It's not fun. So my excuse is semi-legitimate, because I see so much better now. It's not even funny. I mean, literally, I couldn't see a thing. Now looking up, I can see really well in comparison.
Makes you appreciate things.
Amen. Hey, man. Bo, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Always enjoy it.
Back at you. Bo Lanter, kind enough to join us. Really good takes on everything we talked about, Jimmy. He's always good, but he was bullseye today, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. Gets me ready for basketball to be here.
Yeah, it is. It's like Caudle yesterday, Jeremy Caudle, gets you ready for football. It's just funny how it works. I'm excited for the football season. I'm excited to tell you about Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Acupuncture. Ramon Carriega. I keep on saying, don't mean to sound like a broken record, but he's helped me tremendously. Initially, it was kind of like I questioned, but I have no idea why he's doing it. And he ended up putting 10 or 12 needles in my neck. And I've had horrible trying to sleep because I can't go on my back. And so I have to sleep elevated. And it's awful. And I've had more problems with my neck since my eye problem than I probably have in 30 years. And so I didn't even say anything about it. And I'm going, why are you putting all these needles in my neck? He said, because it's obvious your neck isn't doing well. And why didn't you tell me? I didn't say a word, and he knew. And my neck is tons better, thanks to Ramon. He's that good. Acupuncture. Check him out. Ramon Carriega, Blue Lowe's Health, on Versailles Road, 859-533-0914. More Jasper Johnson and other good stuff coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM, and on the ESPN Sports Lexington app, anywhere in the world, and anywhere in the world to get YouTube. On the ESPN Sports Radio 1300 AM page, please subscribe. Maybe we'll get 10 people by the end of today. We'll be back.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Lexington, it's time to feel the warmth and spread the love in a brand new Subaru from Quantrell Subaru. This is Alan Cutler, and you can feel good about working with the Quantrell family for your next Subaru, because not only do we get the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks, but for decades, the Quantrell family of dealerships has donated to over 50 local charities and events. So, play as hard as you work, go where you've never been, and keep it local at Quantrell Subaru. QuantrellSubaru.com.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
It's summertime, and that means it's time to hit the road. Whether you're heading across town or across the state, going on a picnic, to a baseball game, or driving to the lake, stop by, fill up, and stock up at Clark's Pump and Shop, your road trip headquarters.
Clark's Pump and Shop has everything you need to get you to your summertime destination, including Old Trapper Jerky 4-ounce bags for $8.99 and Icebreaker bottle pack gum for $3.50.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Having fun. It's always great talking to Gene Abel. It's always great talking to Bo Lanter. I mean, I'm lucky with a lot of the quote-unquote regulars who like joining the show, and we're sprinkling new people as time goes on. We'll have some, I think, new folks next week as well with some regulars. It's been a blessing, and this thing continues to grow, and so many of you are helping by spreading the word. Or I meet somebody at Rupp Arena or more at Coliseum or at Kroger's or Costco or whatever. I'm just saying places that I go, not very many places all the while, and they say, hey, I found you by accident, and I really liked it. Now I'm a listener, and did you tell anybody? Yeah, I've told my brother or somebody else. So you guys have been unbelievable in helping spread the word. Couldn't do this without you. Couldn't do it without you. Before we get to Jasper Johnson, I want to throw this out here. And this is a smart idea by Drew Franklin of KSR. He goes, that time Kentucky swapped players at the free throw line. And obviously the theme is that, I don't think Willie Cauley-Stein faked an injury, by the way, in the TBT. I think he was legitimately hurt. Now, did TBT not want him, the La Familia, to shoot the free throws? Yes. I think he was hurt. I saw how bad he was clobbered. But do I think he could have shot the free throws? I do, by the way. So I don't think the injury was a fake, but now is the injury serious enough not to shoot free throws? And Willie had just missed 2 free throws. And so the opposing coach gets to choose, and they choose Archie Goodwin, who was awful. He played really well during the TBT, really well, as everybody knows, but he was awful at the free throw line throughout the whole tournament. And he made the first, missed the second, and then they ended up losing because of that. So what Drew did makes sense. He went back in time, and he's got a nice picture of Pitino with real black hair with Travis Ford, and Travis Ford put the wrong guys at the free throw line. Well, and players got suspended because they did that. Well, he didn't put it in there. He either didn't know or didn't want to put my name in it. It's his story. He can do whatever the hell he wants. But it was my footage, not me. My photographer is Rob Lynch, who did a great job. And we had Travis Ford literally pointing to make sure that, Jared Prickett wouldn't go to the free throw line and making sure that Andre Roykin wouldn't go to the free throw line. And one of the comments by Pitino after the game was how painful it was watching Andre shoot free throws. It was either about Jared or Andre. I'm pretty sure it was Andre. And Pitino had a take. Jimmy, I think I've said this once in 3 years. So when Pitino was full of blank, and I say this with kindness, I'm not being mean at all, I promise you, he had a take where he would change his tone of voice and change his body language, and it was like playing poker with somebody. And when he did that, I knew it wasn't true. I knew he was kind of full of it. Again, I'm not being mean to Pitino. And it helped me a lot with stories because I knew the take. And one of the reasons I'm not saying if there were reporters I worked with, I didn't want to tell them. Jimmy, I'm serious. He had a take. It's like, have you ever played poker with somebody where, they did the same thing? It was like, they have this or they have that. Have you ever played with anybody like that?
Yeah, where you find out whatever the tell is.
Yeah. Pitino had a tell. It was pretty obvious, by the way. And matter of fact, when I figured it out very early when he was here, it was kind of like I should have recognized this right away. Anyway, so the wrong guy at the free throw line. Well, the players were suspended because of my footage, but it wasn't me. It was Rob Lynch, my photographer. So this is Vandy. Back then, you had to sit all the way on top. Worst press box in the Southeastern Conference. One of the worst press box in the country because the way the arena is, it's just absolutely awful. A French architect put that building together. And on top, you can't even go from one side to the other. You got to go downstairs and back upstairs. Matter of fact, I've been there so many times. I was all looking for different stories. We walk steps, Jimmy. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's the most ridiculous arena of that size in the country. It's not even close. Anyway, neither here nor there. But my footage got the players suspended. That ended my relationship with Rick Pitino. Totally ended it. I mean, boom. And we were actually, for quite a number of years, really close. And boom, it was gone. We ended up having this huge fight. I mean, loud. I mean, thank goodness there weren't cell phones back then. Brooks Downing calls me up, says, Coach wants to talk to you. He's really mad. That's fine. Whatever. We met just outside Memorial Coliseum instead of an office, which was a dumb thing to do. And he said something that I didn't like. And then he got loud, and he got loud first. And instead of being quiet, Jimmy, guess what I did?
Did the same thing back.
I got loud right back to him. And guess what? I'm yelling at him, and he's yelling at me. You've seen the footage in baseball, Earl Weaver, the old footage when Weaver would go at it with an umpire and then nose-to-nose and stuff like that?
Yeah.
That really is what Pitino and I were doing. And literally, thank goodness there were no cell phones because I'd have been fired. From that day, he and I were done. Never the same. Actually, he was nasty to me for a number of years. And then, time takes care of stuff. And I respect the hell out of Rick. I always have, even when he was mad at me, because I told him I even said, Rick, it's the best game story I will ever do. And it was. I said it then. Best game story I'll ever do because of the information in there. What Kentucky did is separate to the quality of the story. And a lot of people don't understand that. And it was, when I said it then, I know I'd never do a better game story. The point is, without that footage by Rob Lynch, who was my hero, great photographer, we're still friends, it doesn't happen. So I don't know if you didn't know that the guys were suspended because of my story or not, Drew Franklin, but that's, as they say, the rest of the story. So, Martinez goes to the line instead of Jared Prickett. Hello. Painful was the word Pitino used. I remember the soundbite like it's yesterday. And actually, I don't use my YouTube page. I put a couple of stories, and I should have put a lot, and I didn't. By the time I was retiring, I didn't want to mess with that stuff. I was just ready to leave. I don't know if I put 10 stories, something like that on my YouTube page. That's one of them if you ever want to see that. Whoa, Yankees are acquiring Ryan McMahon in a trade with the Colorado Rockies. Interesting. He's a really good player. I don't know if I like the contract. Because they got this kid named Lombard. Is it Lombardi or Lombard? I'm going brain dead. He's one of the best young players in all of baseball in the minor leagues, and he's going to take over. They'll find a spot for him, whatever. But the Yankees, let's put it this way. The Yankees third baseman, basically, their combined average isn't 200. So they had to do something. And I really think that Seattle, as I'm going off on a side tangent, changing this baseball deadline. Absolutely changing the best line deadline, because what they're doing is quite simply like they made the move to get Naylor. So what are they telling other teams? You better make a move now, and you better get the play you want, because you don't get the play you want now, the player's not going to be available. And Seattle is a very aggressive team, and by getting Naylor, they changed this. The Yankees really wanted McMahon. I don't know what they gave up. I'll look at it in a second, but the point is this. There'll be more deals earlier than later, because if you want that player and you don't step up to the plate and you keep on holding out, I don't want to give you this, I don't want to give you that, I don't want to give you this, I don't want to give you that, guess what? You might not get him. Jimmy, you see the logic with that, right? You want McMahon. By the way, he's a good guy, good player, good defender, can hit an occasional home run. Not having his best year with the bat, because I look at the box scores every day. Rockies received 2 prospects, whoever they are. Well, without looking at Jimmy, you read this like me. I'll go back to the free throw line in a second. When I see 2 prospects without even knowing the names, I'll bet it's not top prospects. Don't you agree with that?
Yeah, if it's one of the big ones, they would usually put that in.
Yeah, it's not Spencer Jones. Have you seen that Spencer Jones has hit 13 home runs in 19 games in AAA?
Yeah, I thought, was it yesterday he hit 3 home runs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hit 3 yesterday. It's unbelievable. And teams have been asking about him. I think he's going to be a starting left fielder next year. I think he's going to move people around. We'll see. And it's funny, last year, you know what they were starting to call him? A bust. He was striking out too much. You got to give some of these kids time. It's like, whatever. And you know what's interesting? A lot of teams didn't want to draft Spencer Jones. You want to know why? Jimmy, he was too tall. And so there's this thing that Aaron Judge is an aberration. Now think about it. Come on, Jimmy, you're a baseball guy. You're a big Giants guy. How many 6'7" outfielders are there?
I can't think of it. I'm just thinking of 6'7" players. Richie Sexton is the only position player that I could think of. He was 6'7".
Yeah, first baseman. And he was a hell of a player. It's a really good name to come up with. But there's this theory, which I think is stupid, that you can't play baseball if you're that big. Hello? You know, how many people say in the NFL, you can't play quarterback if you're 6 feet? Fran Tarkenton. Yeah, you can. Is it more difficult? Yes. So what? Talent can overcome that. Maybe you'll be drafted lower because you're shorter. I get that, whether I like it or not. But don't tell me somebody 6 feet can't play quarterback in the NFL. Plus, how about this? And this makes no sense to me whatsoever. Well, if you're 6'8", you can't play quarterback. I'm sorry. Now you're taller. You see over the offensive line. You have less problem looking for holes to throw the damn ball. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Now, there happen not to be a lot of 6'9" quarterbacks. I suspect some of them end up playing basketball, right?
Yeah. There's a pretty easy solution, or you figure out why that's the case.
Yeah. Jasper Johnson was a quarterback, loved playing football.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a ton of people in his family and cousins, the East and all that kind of stuff, play football, he loved playing quarterback. He's playing basketball. Yeah, and if he grows a little bit, could I see him putting on some weight and being a hell of a quarterback? Yeah, and apparently he was a really good quarterback. But he's happy with his decision. So, some of the stereotype stuff, Jimmy, have you noticed it drives me out of my mind?
Yeah, and I think some of these stereotypes, they existed before for a reason, but the way that athletes have changed now, you didn't have a guy like Victor Wembanyama 7'4" and is doing the things he's doing. You have all these guys. Aaron Judge is 6'8", 280, playing in the outfield. Things are changing. Times are changing. Athletes are evolving. There is no ceiling anymore. You're going to have a 6'5" second baseman eventually. It's
Absolutely.
Just going to happen.
Actually, you know when I thought it was going to change? And I'm telling you right now, I'm wrong. I was wrong then, and I'm wrong now, and I will tell you. When Dave Winfield, who was a great basketball player at Minnesota, who could throw the ball 95 miles an hour. I'm not going to finish the stuff on the Drew Franklin stuff, am I? Okay, it's all good. he was a great athlete. And when he played the outfield and could play spectacular defense and won an arm and one of the great baseball players of his time, Jimmy, I really thought when he did it, all of a sudden they would say, well, other people that size can do it as well. And I was wrong. I was definitely wrong. Look at Dave Winfield. My gosh. He was unbelievable. Anyway, Drew, I didn't know if going back to Drew Franklin, I'm going on that rant a little bit. Didn't know if you knew that when I say my footage, it was my story, but Rob Lynch, as the photographer, did it, and I didn't know he was shooting it until after the game because, as I was saying, I was upstairs, he was downstairs, and we were walking off the court together. And I never forget, I said, did you get it? He said, of course I got it. And we knew what each other were talking about. So we had the footage. That's how those guys got suspended. And I tell you what, Jimmy, I know we got to go, but the truth is people were so mad at me. It was unbelievable how ticked they were. And I was going to back down. It was a game story, right? What am I supposed to do? Not tell the story? And I thought it'd be in the Herald Leader next morning. Now, getting up 5 o'clock in the morning, I do all the time. Back then, getting up 5 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday when you've been in Nashville and come back and stuff, I met our Sunday paper figuring to be on the front page of the Herald Leader, and they didn't have the story at all. And we had it. Very happy about that. Pleased about that. Proud about that. So, Drew Franklin, I don't know if you listen. I know he listens sometimes. I listen to you guys too. It's all good. Just sharing as, didn't somebody used to say, and now that was the rest of the story?
I've heard that before. I don't know who.
You being facetious or real?
No, I thought it was either a late night show host
or Paul Harvey. Paul Harvey was one of the great radio broadcasts. You know what? And that's not fair. It's before your time. Paul Harvey was the voice and the syndicated guy in radio forever. Unbelievable. Jimmy, we got to get out of here. I know you're telling me to shut up. That's all good. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. If anybody is watching on the ESPN Sports Radio 1300 AM YouTube page, thank you. If you're downloading us on the ESPN Sports Lexington app anywhere in the world, podcast coming up in a half hour. Thank you for listening.